Good evening and welcome to TVB News. It's understood the government will unveil details of the new pilot scheme in which private developers would help with subsidized housing development on Tuesday at the earliest. Sources say resale restrictions of these discounted flats will be similar to those sold under the home ownership scheme. Jackie Lin reports.
In his maiden policy address, Chief Executive JUN vowed to bring back the scheme in which private developers participate in the government's subsidized housing development projects. 3 sites will be put up for tender in batches for private developers. Some 3,000 to 4,000 units could be generated. It's understood the Executive Council will iron out the details to have them unveiled on Tuesday at the soonest. They include the locations of the 3 plots of land in the scheme. Currently, the discount rates for most subsidized flats would only be known to the public before sales begin. For these privately developed subsidized flats, however, sources say authorities are more inclined to have the concessionary rate determined earlier during the bidding stage. Such flats will likely have a better building quality complete with basic renovation. Owners selling these flats purchased within 5 to 15 years have to pay a premium with resale restrictions. The limitations will be similar to those imposed on other subsidized housing under the home ownership scheme. But unlike the past, the government won't buy back any unsold units in these projects. Architecture sector lawmaker Paul Zhen said earlier decisions on the discount rates give more sense of certainty and hence incentives for developers to join the scheme. Jackie Lin, TVB News.
Starting next month, the government is planning to allow senior couples to share their healthcare voucher accounts without presenting a marriage certificate. According to the new measure, couples can only share their accounts if they appear together at one of the city's medical institutions, show their ID cards and declare their marital status. As of now, residents aged 65 or above are granted a healthcare voucher worth $2,000 annually. Authorities are currently reviewing the expansion of the healthcare voucher for the elderly in the Greater Bay Area. The court found there was a prima facie case against 16 defendants who denied their charges of subversion involving the so-called Let's Go primaries. That means the court thinks there are enough evidence to charge them. The case was heard in the West Kowloon Magistracy this morning. National Security Designated Judge Andrew Chan said there are enough evidence to charge the defendants, including former opposition lawmakers Helena Wong and Raymond Chan. They will have to take a plea. The defense counsel noted 13 of the defendants will testify in court. The case has been adjourned until next Monday. These 16 defendants are among the 47 people charged with subversion involving the so-called 35-plus primaries. Overseas, former U.S. President Donald Trump has been indicted for mishandling classified documents. He is facing federal charges and is expected in court on Tuesday to face 7 criminal accusations. Trump, who's campaigning to be U.S. leader again, said on social media that he's innocent. David Garrett has more.
Donald Trump's latest legal issue can be traced back to January 2021 when he left the White House. Hundreds of documents were taken here to Trump's luxury Florida estate. A year later, when boxes were returned to the National Archives, they told the Justice Department there were still some missing. In August 2022, investigators obtained a search warrant to raid Mar-a-Lago. They found 100 papers tagged as classified. Now, today, the indictment, not yet public, was revealed by Trump himself. Trump wrote on his own social media he's been summoned to appear at a Miami courthouse on Tuesday. He then released his own video.
I'm an innocent man. I did nothing wrong. And we will fight this out just like we've been fighting for 7 years. It would be wonderful if we could devote our full time to making America great again. And that's exactly what we did. But now, again, our country is in decline. We're a failing nation. And this is what they do. I'm an innocent man. We will prove that again. 7 years of proving it. And here we go again. Very unfair.
Here are the photos of the papers that were seized. Trump reportedly faces 7 charges, including unauthorised retention of classified files. Some, but not all, Republican politicians have leapt to Trump's defence. Speaker of the House Kevin McCarthy tweeted it was a dark day and stands with President Trump against this grave injustice. Another candidate for 2024, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, called it a moral threat to a free society.
The politics of it are truly extraordinary and unprecedented. In addition to this being the first federal case against a former president, this is also the first federal case against a leading presidential candidate. And adding to the complexity is this is being brought by the Biden administration Justice Department, and of course President Joe Biden is again seeking re-election, and there is the potential for a rematch against Donald Trump.
It is the second recent legal case for the leading Republican candidate. Trump's due back in court in New York in a state case stemming from alleged hush money payments to Stormy Daniels. But far from harming him, the former leader often gets a bump in the polls because his supporters call it political interference. Trump could still be Joe Biden's main opponent when the current president runs for re-election.
I have never once, not one single time, suggested to the Justice Department what they should do or not do relative to bringing a charge or not bringing a charge. I'm honest.
David Garrett, TVB News.
Still ahead on tonight's news. Giant rubber ducks sail Victoria Harbour. Rishi Sunak and Joe Biden vow to strengthen British-American ties. Welcome back to TVB News. Today, Victoria Harbour welcomed some special guests from afar, a pair of giant rubber ducks. The artist behind the work hopes the 2-week floating exhibition can spread the message of joy to people in Hong Kong and beyond. Jackie Lin was there.
After 10 years, the famed yellow rubber duck once again takes over the city's Victoria Harbour. This time, it returns with a buddy. The pair of 18-meter-tall inflatable bath toys were towed by tugboats across the port before settling near Tema Park, offering some photo opportunities for Hong Kongers and tourists alike.
It's a special memory for us. Definitely bring happiness to the Hong Kong people.
And happiness is exactly what Dutch artist Florentine Hoffman wants his ducky duo to bring to Hong Kong.
Double duck, double luck.
Another message, the importance of connection between people, especially amidst the changing times.
Pandemic really is one of the topics why we bring it, because we need some joy. Together with that, worldwide stress, politics, I mean, we all need to connect again. People gather and connect and have a good time and share moments, and that's what life is about.
Also connected are generations of people who saw the exhibition 10 years ago.
3 generation people like come and visit. Just an example, like some of people I know, they haven't get married, and now they get married, and also they bring their kid, you know. So I think that's very amazing.
They include Peony here.
So at the time, I bring with my 2 daughters. One is 2 years old, and she is in my tummy. All the kids are pretending the cutie ducks to perform in front of the public. They are so excited and honored.
The 2 rubber ducks were pumped up in 2 hours overnight. In 2013, the rubber duck was showcased near the Tsim Sha Tsui Pier. A lone duck back then, it stood at 16.5 meters tall, slightly smaller than the parrot this time. On Father's Day, one of the ducky duo will set out to greet the public along the Kowloon shorelines. In a 2-hour voyage, it will swing by various landmarks in Tsim Sha Tsui as well as Causeway Bay before rejoining its partner back in Central, right here. Jackie Lin, TVB News.
Overseas again, Rishi Sunak held his first talks with U.S. President Joe Biden at the White House since becoming British Prime Minister last October. They pledged to strengthen bilateral cooperation while reiterating their support for Ukraine as it fights off Russia's invasion. Dan Orell tells us more.
The 2 leaders have had at least 4 face-to-face meetings since Rishi Sunak became British Prime Minister. But the talks in Washington offer them a chance for more sustained interaction. Joe Biden and Sunak look to demonstrate that the US-UK relationship remains strong despite differences in issues such as those related to Northern Ireland. Biden and Sunak said their countries would partner on advanced technologies, clean energy and critical minerals as they strengthen a historical security alliance. They also signed the Atlantic Declaration. It will serve as a framework on the development of emerging technologies, protecting technology that is critical to national security and other economic issues. The two sides will kick off negotiations on the use of minerals from the UK that are critical in the production of electric vehicles that are eligible for US tax credits.
Today we have agreed the Atlantic Declaration, a new economic partnership for a new age, of a kind that has never been agreed before. It means stronger supply chains with a new action plan on clean energy. And it means reducing trade barriers and the technologies of the future.
We discussed how we can continue to adapt and upgrade our partnership to ensure our countries remain at the cutting edge of a rapidly changing world.
The Russian invasion of Ukraine was high on the agenda. The US and UK are the two biggest donors to the Ukraine war effort. Biden expressed confidence that the US Congress would continue to provide Ukraine with funding as needed. Sunak also made the case to Biden for UK Defence Minister Ben Wallace to succeed outgoing NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg, who is set to end his term in September. Biden said ultimately a consensus on any new leader would need to be achieved. On artificial intelligence, Sunak said it was vital to ensure that paradigm-shifting new technologies are harnessed for the good of humanity.
Japanese have stepped up.
Biden said the challenges that come with the advancement of AI technology are staggering, but must be handled with great care. Dan Orell, TVB News.
U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken is reportedly planning to travel to Beijing as soon as next week, according to Politico. Washington's top diplomat scrapped a planned trip earlier this year over an alleged Chinese spy balloon that flew across the United States. On Wednesday, Chinese ambassador to the United States, Xie Feng, emphasized that a stable China-U.S. relationship is conducive to the common interests of both countries and world peace. And that's the news. Thanks for watching.